Okay, let's dive in. We've all been there, right? You're in a meeting, you need to push back against a colleague, maybe even a client, and suddenly all that, academic English you learned just vanishes.
It goes right out the window.
Mhm.
And when the stakes are high, professional disagreement is already tough.
Yeah, but in a foreign language,
hmm
where every single word choice gets magnified, it becomes a completely different field of strategic communication.
It absolutely does, and our sources really confirm this. To get it right, especially cross-culturally, you have to just abandon the idea of translating your thoughts directly.
So it's not about vocabulary.
Not primarily, it's the cultural dynamics, the subtle communication styles. Those are the hidden rules. So our mission today is really to distill the core strategies you need to disagree professionally and persuasively without burning any bridges.
And here's what I found so interesting. The goal isn't to be declared the winner. It's more like tactical diffusion.
Yes,
The core rule seems to be acknowledge the other person's opinion without ever saying they are wrong.
exactly. You immediately transfer the focus from a personal fault to, say, a systemic optimization. You neutralize the conflict by swapping out those high-stakes words like wrong or mistake.
And you use what? Softer words.
Softer, solution-oriented words. Things like alternative or a more efficient way or better. You pivot the conversation to the future, not the past.
Okay, so give us an example. How does that reframing actually sound in practice?
Well, instead of saying, Larry, your approach won't work, you introduce the alternative much more gently. Something like, Larry, there could be a more efficient way of proceeding that also addresses our budget concerns.
Right, you're tying it to a shared goal.
Precisely. Or if you're facing a really strong opinion, you could say, thank you for sharing your insights. We've actually received very different customer feedback on that feature, which suggests an alternative approach.
Now, a surprising tension diffuser our sources brought up is the word sorry, which I have to say seems a little counterintuitive in a professional setting. Doesn't saying sorry signal weakness?
That's a critical nuance, and you're right to raise it. The sources warn that in some cultures, an apology can sound like you're admitting you're incompetent.
So how do you use it?
The trick is to frame the apology not for your idea, but for the friction of disagreeing. You apologize first, for instance. Sorry, Jane, I'm afraid I disagree with you on that point, and here's why, based on the recent testing data.
Ah, I see. That little word just acknowledges the relationship so the facts can follow without feeling like an attack.
You've got it.
Okay, let's tackle the biggest hurdle, disagreeing with your boss
Yeah.
or a major customer. How do you navigate that power dynamic?
Here, you have to be very specific. The sources outline a three-part structure. First, you thank them for their input.
Okay.
Second, you validate their perspective, show you understand their goal. Only then do you offer your alternative, and you have to sell it based on tangible benefits.
So you're turning the disagreement into a comparison of optimization strategies.
Exactly. You're not saying your idea is bad. You're saying, I appreciate your focus on delivery speed, which is critical. However, by selecting supplier A, we get the same speed and better long-term returns according to these financial models.
It shifts the entire conversation from personal opinion to objective data.
Brilliant.
So after you've lodged your objection, how do you move towards a resolution?
You have to listen actively. That means nodding, maybe verbally acknowledging a key point they made. You could say, that point about the tight deadline is crucial.
You prove you heard them.
Yes. Then you immediately pivot using action-oriented phrases to get back some momentum. My suggestion would be 2, or how about we establish a KPI to monitor both approaches?
And, that links to another critical point that's both cultural and just practical, picking your moment.
Oh, absolutely. In so many professional cultures, preserving face is paramount. A public disagreement can be really damaging, so if you can, take it private. Instead of battling it out in front of the whole team, you suggest, Jane, could we maybe meet in an hour to resolve this away from the others? It preserves dignity and makes a resolution much more likely.
So wrapping this up, what's the big picture here for someone trying to succeed professionally?
Disagreement is a high-level skill. It's not focused on finding fault, but on collaboratively finding the single best solution. It's all about optimization under pressure.
And I think the highest level of this, according to our sources, is when you actively accept a differing outcome just to maintain momentum, but you do it with a safeguard.
Exactly. You might say something like, okay, I'm prepared to accept we implement your plan, but I ask that we carefully monitor the results for the next 3 weeks.
Which leaves us with a really great question to think about. What are the true limits of agreeing to disagree when you're dealing with high-stakes budgets or critical projects where just monitoring isn't enough? How much of your own reputation are you willing to stake on someone else's plan?